So, folks, let's talk a little bit about one of the things that's been going around on social media, which is basically the Trump administration has been focusing on Philadelphia today to remove any mentions of slavery, I guess, from public exhibits on public property. There's video. Here's an example of the monument information being removed from Independence National Historical Park. Just a bunch of guys showing up, peeling off the sign. You can see all of the different panels they've removed already.
In Philadelphia or everywhere?
Yeah, man. And I think that this is really emblematic of the absolute rot of white supremacy that has taken hold of Washington, D.C., of the Republican Party. And I mean, let's be real. The Republican Party has been enthralled by white supremacy for some time now. But it's really gone mask off. Like, they're going for it, folks. They are trying to destroy any kind of mention of historical events that run counter to their idea of what America is. And in their minds, of course, what America is white. And so one of the things that I want to talk about here is that this is emblematic of a larger conflict. One of the things I wanted to throw out there was specifically, it's not limited to just slavery. It's also encompassing more modern events, right? So one of the events of the day was hearings on Jack Smith and January 6th. And those have been happening as Congress has been in session now for a couple days. But let's just take a look at this, because I want you all to understand that the rewriting of history is not just going to be, you know, what happened prior to our lifetimes. It's going to be, they're going to do their best to gaslight us about even things we saw happen. This part in particular, I think really resonated with me, because I think we all need to have the bravery to stand up and say, no, that's not what fucking happened.
I would like to quickly address the police officers of January 6th. Mr. Dunn, Mr. Fanone, Mr. Gonell, Mr. Hodges. I'm a member of the new select committee to actually examine what happened that day. And I can tell you, gentlemen, that the fault does not lie with Donald Trump. It lies with Yogananda Pittman and the U.S. Capitol leadership team. We know they had the intelligence, and there was going to be a high propensity for violence that day. Claim my time, yeah.
You will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. We've had some disruptions already. We don't need that. Let the gentleman may continue.
We know the Capitol leadership team, specifically Yogananda Pittman, had the intelligence, and there was going to be a high propensity for violence.
You know, just there needs to be, like, look, Fanone has a lot of issues, right? Like, he's not like a perfect dude, but I do have to say, I have a lot of respect for him for being one of the few people in that room willing to say, go fuck yourself in the middle of a congressional hearing. This, by the way, continued to escalate. Let's just take a quick look.
Every single time I
can we get like a go fuck yourself counter? Like, how many? So when we start off this, we're already at 1 because of what he said earlier.
requires other people to contain the Tourette's syndrome. Okay? I'm not going to get it. I'll have her trade in this book. Why are you so spasmodic? My spasmodic? Absolutely. Look behind me. Do so. Why should I? I'll communicate with you. Right? Look at your face. Trust me, I'm using a lot of how many people are constraining you. Look at me. Total control over my mind, body.
Hey, the committee will be in order.
Mr. Chairman, will you...
No shame.
Sir.
Treating these people that way.
This guy is threatening my family.
Members of the audience,
My children.
members of the audience will please sit down or remove themselves from the committee room.
Rape my children, you sick bastard. Rape my children.
Sit down, please.
Thank you, Officer Fanone. Mr. Chairman, please control the deranged observer, Mr. Raiklan, so he doesn't create any other problems with us today.
Oh, dude dropped 9 go fuck yourselves and got a standing ovation from people who were present. God. But I just have to say, right, like, there is a need for guys like Fanon. All right? There is a need for folks who are willing and able to make a scene to correct the public record. You know? Like, it's necessary. Can we ban the word deranged? No. Like, it is necessary here for someone to stand up with, like, a certain amount of, like, moral, righteous anger in order to say, no, that's fucking lunacy. No. You're a piece of shit. You are like targeting me and my family with this conspiratorial nonsense, and people are threatening us. Threatening people who speak out and correct the record. And you know what? That cannot stand. You cannot be unchallenged with the lies you are spewing, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is one of the conflicts that is raging across the Trump administration, right? Do we just sit back and allow them to erase our history? Do we just sit back and allow them to have, like, these dog and pony shows in Congress to try and, like, reassert, like, a more friendly narrative to the conservative worldview? And, like, no. No, we have to be loud. We have to oppose that. And I just have to say, there have been a handful of things today that have just really hammered home to me that this is, like, the conflict that is happening right now. At least insofar as a lot of the country is concerned. Here's the Washington Post covering a judge who ruled against the Trump administration because, again, they're trying to continue to deport Mahmoud Khalil, right? The student that they arrested and detained for like 100+ days because he spoke out in support of Palestinians. There's been this back and forth where DHS is like, we're gonna deport him. Oh, what's that? Another part of, like, this legal dispute is over? I guess that means we can deport him to Algeria now. And that they literally put that out there earlier today. And now a judge had to step in again and say, no, actually, you can't. The Trump administration, you cannot retaliate against people using their freedom of speech to speak up in favor of Palestinians. And one of the wild parts about this, yeah, A federal judge in Boston blocked the Trump administration from retaliating against two groups of scholars and students in a case that he said exposed an unconstitutional conspiracy to violate the First Amendment. And, I just have to say, this type of stuff really should be bigger news. But so much has been happening that it's just like, this is like the 12th biggest story of the day. But like the fact that our government is currently engaged in an unconstitutional conspiracy to attack First Amendment rights for people who are here legally in the country is mind-blowing, Like that should be game over for everyone involved in a sane world, but in Trump world, it's just the 12th biggest thing to happen today, right? And to like hammer this home, I want you all to know that the judge who ruled on this, his name's Judge William Young. And he was appointed by Ronald Reagan 4 decades ago. And I want you all to understand something, that we do not get to where we are with Donald Trump today without Ronald Reagan, like, knocking over the dominoes that set into motion a series of events, right? And, like, it's so infuriating, but, like, even the guys who were in Reagan's corner 40 years ago are now being like, guys, we might have gotten a few things wrong here. This Judge William Young ends his ruling preventing the Trump administration from deporting people who use their freedom of speech by quoting Reagan to say, "Freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended in every generation, for it comes only once to a people." And I just have to say, like, we're like everything is upside down. Like, this isn't. It's insane. It's insane that this is where we're at. We have come full circle now to like Ronald Reagan is a leftist by 2026 standards. Yeah, how dare you? Troubling. The worst person you know said something you agree with. Oh God, but this is the conflict, right? This is the conflict. And despite all of that, the Trump administration is going forward with its war, not just on Minnesota, but on all blue states. It's going to get worse before it gets better, folks. They are doing everything in their power to try and, control us and control workers and get us, under the whip, as it were. Trump Budget Office orders review of funds to Democratic-controlled states. President Donald Trump said his administration would cut off federal resources to sanctuary cities on February 1st. So this is going to be everywhere soon. They are going to cut off funding to your city, to your state, and then they are going to flood your streets with ICE. That is their playbook here in Minnesota. That is what they are going to do to you at some point in the near future if they have not yet done it already. It will be adjudicated in the courts. Who knows where the courts will land on that? But our hope cannot rely on court cases. Our hope has to rely upon us standing in solidarity with one another. Because there are far too many of us, when we are united, to be governed by a mad tyrant. I think it's helpful for Minnesotans that it's fucking negative 43 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It is helpful for Minnesotans that it is that cold outside, because guess what? ICE, ironically, can't handle it. And I think that this is all going to be very bad for the Trump administration. And I do want to hammer home that the fight that they have picked is not one that they can win. It is one that they can use to sow untold amounts of misery and pain, but it is not one that they can win. And they know that, which is why they're sending out J.D. Vance to do speeches here in Minnesota. They sent J.D. Vance out here to eat shit earlier today, and you know what? Surprise, surprise, he ate shit. That man was a charisma black hole. And I gotta say, oddly enough, watching that dumb couch fucking son of a bitch spew lies here filled me with a weird amount of hope. That's the best they got. And we've got several million people here, any one of whom is worth, 100 JD Vances. But I wanted to kind of draw out what the situation is here right now. Because the solidarity that people in Minnesota have found with one another and have demonstrated with one another on a daily basis, you know, both Republicans and Democratic voters alike are turning out to defend their local schools. They're turning out to street corners to observe for ICE. You know, they are on the lookout. They're wearing visibility vests and like keeping tabs on street corners to see where ICE might be. We're entering a new phase where folks have realized that, you know, for the most part, a lot of folks in leadership are not coming for them. A lot of folks in leadership are not going to be, you know, offering you a panacea that is going to fix everything. And a lot of them are offering some nice words, and I guess that's appreciated, but it's not going to fix the problem. We have to fix the problem. We have to get organized, and we have to fix it. And folks, consider getting your workplace organized. Consider joining your local Dems. Consider joining your local DSA. Get involved in your local political scene, because the more of us get involved in that, the less Chuck Schumers we wind up with, the fewer Hakeem Jeffries we wind up with, and the more we get folks who actually understand what we need and who are willing to get us those things. Okay? It is really, really important that we get organized. If you need help doing so, join our Discord, reach out to GamerG for help joining DSA, reach out to Dragonfly for help joining your local Dems, and let's go. The time is now, and we have to band together. You know, it's socialism or barbarism time, and you know, having gotten some sneak peeks at what the barbarism looks like, let's join together and get the socialism instead, huh? All that being said, folks, hit that follow button, leave a comment longer than 8 words. The comments really, really help videos in the algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't, and consider supporting the stream. And last but certainly not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. It is tested on cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. Everyone who has tried it says it's very comfortable. Check it out. Link should be down in the description. And let's keep going, folks.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.